Hey guys, Ryan from the New York City Guitar School, and for the lick of the month this month, we're just going to do the guitar solo for Something by the Beatles. It's a really beautiful guitar solo, and it's a lot of fun to play. So let's get started. The thing about this solo though is that it uses a technique that's called a pre-bend, and the way you do that is you bend the note first, and you have to kind of shoot for where you're bending. So for example, if I'm on the 10th fret here, you have to hear that note in your head and then come off of it. And same thing for, that's a half step pre-bend, and this is a whole step pre-bend. And you kind of come off it like that. So I'll show you when that comes up. But so anyway, to get started, this one starts on a slide from 7 to 9. And so we slide up and then we play 8. I'm sliding with my third finger, and then I'm playing both of those at the same time. So I'm making sure my third finger stands up and it's out of the way. That's the start of it. The next one, if you wanted to just pick that note, I'm playing 7, 9 on G, and that's 10 and 8 on the B string, and landing back on 9. I think maybe a bend there, but so that would be the middle finger doing a whole step bend up to there. Either way works just fine. Next part, that's a hammer-on of 7 to 9, hammer-on of 8 to 10 on the B string, and then a slide from 11 to 13. So putting that all together, after this is where we have our first pre-bend, and this is on the 15th fret on the B string. First you pick 15, 13, and then, so already start with it bent and come off of it. Putting that all together. And I'm landing on the 14th fret on the G string there. And that's the first half of it. Second half, we come down. I think of these as two groups of 2 notes here. So the first one is 10th fret on the B string, 8th fret on the E string, and those 2 notes. And it's I kind of slide into it. You don't have to, but and then 9 and 8 on the G and B string. So that would be, it would be like this coming down. Try that again. That's 10 and 8 on the B string and the E string, and then 9 and 8 on G and B. And so after, and then you don't have to. You could play this up here, but I kind of like coming all the way down to this A note on the G string. That's 2nd fret. And then this is another part with a really big pre-bend, and this is so I slide from 2 up to barring on the 7th fret, and then there's another pre-bend here on the 10th fret all the way. You have to hear this note, that high B. That was a little sharp. It's kind of tricky. So let's recap. Let's get to there from the beginning. And here's the 10 and 8, 9 and 8, 2. That's a 4-2. I'm just doing a pull off there, and then I slide up to that bar on 7. Do that again. And here's the pre-bend. So that one's a little tricky. I start by coming off the note, and then I bend it back and do it again. And then on the high E string I play these descending notes. There's a 9, 8, 7 and 12, 11, 10. So let's back up to this low 2. Now we're at the part where the chords are doing this, and you don't have to be specific here. It's just a bend on the 7th fret, and you're doing a whole step bend, and you can do it. I've heard many recordings where he does it a lot, does it just a little bit. You know, it could be, you know, as much as you want. It's really just about grabbing the 7th fret and bending up to that note on 9s. The solo has a whole lot of bends in it. Happens 3 times, and on the 3rd time you slide up, but the tendency, you want to slide with your 3rd finger because that's the note that you were bending with, but you actually are going to slide with this middle finger. That way it sets you up to reach this high note. So it's a kind of a big reach here. So let me do that slowly. Have this bend. Use my middle finger to slide up 2 frets, and I'm playing 9 and 8. Reach with pinky all the way to the 12th fret on the high E, and those are 2 whole steps. So let's back that up. Slide with 2, and I land on the B string on the 10th fret there. And then it has this lick at the very end, which is the one that's happening throughout the whole song, and that's... And what that is starts on 10, another pre-bend, and this is a half-step pre-bend, so you're shooting for this C note, the 13th fret, but you bend up 12 and come off of it. And then you just walk it up, literally 10, 11, 12, and end on that 13 note right there. So I'm going to play the whole solo very slowly, and then I'll play it at normal tempo. So from the beginning. Cool. Now here it is up to tempo. 3, 4. So that one's, it's going to take some practice on those bends. And to say another thing about bends, if you want to zoom in right here, this for a long time when I was trying to do bends, I would push them this way, and so often would my fingers like this, the string would go on top of my fingers like this. You don't really want to push your fingers like this. You want it to be more of a wrist motion like this. So what I do is I have all of my fingers lined up on the same string. I don't just use one finger and push. I have them all lined up on one string, and then I'm kind of turning my hand like this rather than pushing, because that'll also kind of hurt your fingernails if you push this way. So you want to So notice how my wrist is turning like that. And it's just, you know, this is such a great song to work on bends, and it's a really rewarding solo to practice. But I would practice those pre-bends. I mean, just kind of sit around and try to see if you can really hear where those notes are falling. And yeah, take it slow, and this is a